Everybody, welcome to yet another video. So today we're having a little look at the NS Iwata, or should I say Airgunza NS Iwata AZ4 in 1.3. Now I dug this video out. This video is probably about 3, maybe even more years old. I keep the videos catalogued, so you know, I can find old stuff, and I just refer to my spray out sheets to you know, as to what one I'm going to do. But the reason I dug this one out was that I've recently done it. It's not up on YouTube yet. I will edit it and put it up. But I've recently done a comparison test for the air consumption on miniguns, and one of the guns I included was this, the AZ4. This particular gun, I've got two of these. I've got a 1.0 version, I've got a 1.3 version, and as I've said before in previous videos, they actually have different caps. You have an AZ4-2 and an AZ4-1. Now the AZ4-2, which is the cap on this gun, this particular gun, normally comes with the 1.3 or higher tip size, although I think you can get some 1.3s with an AZ4-1 cap. Now the two caps are very different. One operates at 1 bar and one operates at 2.2 bar, which is this one here, which is about 36 psi. The other one at 1 bar is, what's that, 14.5 psi, so they're totally different. This actually puts out quite a lot of material and is really good fun to use. I'm using it here for base coat and for clear coat, but it's actually very good for, well, it's very good for both, but it's very good for clear coat, for giving a good finish, considering how much the gun is. At the time, I think, well, I actually bought these, if I remember rightly, one of these or both of these, I can't remember now, it was literally years ago, but somebody bought a set. They were doing a couple of things with a set, and a WS400 was there, and the guy wanted the WS400, so I had the AZ3 and the AZ4, which is this AZ4. If I remember rightly, I think that's how I got this one. And I got them, the pair of them, for, I don't know, it's about 180 quid for the pair of them. If you've seen an older video and I said a different amount, then that will be right, because that will be more in my head than it is now. But it wasn't particularly expensive. And I remember thinking what sort of good value for money they were. Since then, there's been a lot of water under the bridge, and I've found some corrosion on both of these. I'll put a picture up in the corner of the video, and you can see they're stored under exactly the same conditions as all my other guns. So they are subject to getting, you know, if it's very cold and then it gets warmer again, you get humidity and they get a bit damp. But not even the cheap Chinese guns I've got actually have corroded like these two have. So a bit disappointed in the build quality of the Airgunza guns. Certainly the AZ3 is truly awful. The AZ4, you know, for its price, I've always thought is pretty good, really. But it's still not up there with you know, some of the other guns. Certainly not up with the Iwata, the Japanese Iwata guns. But it's not too bad. But as I say, I was a little bit disappointed, as you saw in the photo. It doesn't affect the way the gun works. I just put it on a wire wheel and buffed it up. But obviously each time it gets damp, it will do a similar thing. So not particularly good. But the rest of the guns actually been fine, and I've had these, well, probably about 4 years, maybe a bit more now. So, you know, they've worked absolutely fine, and they do work well. But as I was saying at the start of the video, what led me to dig this video out and voice it up was I've been doing a test on the air consumption of miniguns and Midi guns. This is more of a Midi gun than a minigun. It's physically bigger. But I tried both the AZ4-1 and the AZ4-2 cap. Now this is the AZ4-2, much more suited to clear coat for a speedier application, considering it is, you know, a Midi gun. But one of the things that really surprised me This thing did, I've got no way of knowing the actual consumption, so I couldn't say to you exactly what it was in CFM, but I had I used a 90 litre compressor, and just took the amount of time that it took for it to click back in again, you know, so it would fill fully up and then see how long it took to click back in. This thing took about 27 seconds for a 90 litre compressor, which was one of the more air hungry guns. But what really surprised me was the AZ4-1, which is the smaller version of this, so the cap that runs at 1 bar, was only using it was less than the LPH80. Now the LPH80 normally consumes about 2.2 bar, so I reckon it's using about 1.7 1.8 bar, because it ran for 127 seconds before it clicked in. In fact, I thought that the compressor had turned off, but it hadn't. It was just running for that long, so it actually surpassed the LPH80 for the amount of time it will run on the, you know, the same amount of air that's being drawn. So I thought, as I say, I thought that gave me the impetus to get this video out and show you this video, because it is a nice colour and it actually come out really, really well. And it reminded me of how good this gun is for quality of finish, because if you're using it in the AZ4-1 cap, the small cap, it's much, much slower, but it still performs very, very well. And with the AZ4-2 cap, which is this one here, it performs excellently. It really does perform excellently. So it's a shame that the build quality isn't quite there on these things. I've had no problem with corrosion in the actual tract of the gun, but I mean, to be fair, these things don't get used loads, because I've got loads of different guns to choose from. People that watch the channel know I'm a bit of a mad head when it comes to spray guns, and I've got lots of different spray guns, so none of them are getting really hammered, but they're all getting enough use to see how long they last, and you know, whatever. And of course this one's come up short in the build quality stakes, so I couldn't really say to you, yeah, this is a great gun, it'll last you years and years and years, because I'm not sure whether it would. But you know, in the UK now, I think these things are about 150 GB pounds, which is about what, 180 US dollars, 185 US dollars, but 170 euros, something like that. And I know in some places they're actually cheaper than that, and in some places they're a bit more expensive. So it does depend where you live as to, you know, whether these things are actually very good value for money. But as I say, if you're looking for a gun that's not going to use loads of air, the AZ4-1, I mean, it completely surprised me. I've used both of these caps before. I was aware that the AZ4-1 didn't use that much air. I had no idea that it used less. I mean, it was by far the star of the show. If you're looking for because the air consumption test is going to be about spray guns that use very little air, which a lot of people are interested in, particularly if you're spraying at home. You haven't got a big air supply, so people need to know, you know, about the amount of air it's going to draw. As you can see, it gives brilliant results, really, really nice results. But the AZ4-1 absolutely flummoxed me, because I've always recommended to people the LPH80 for a good spray gun that doesn't use a lot of air. But the AZ4-1 certainly would knock that off the perch. Yes, the LPH80 atomizes finer, but it certainly, the AZ4-1 really surprised me, the amount of air it uses. Anyway, here's the end result. I was trying to get it in the sun, and it was at a time of year when there's very limited sun, so I didn't really succeed. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video as always, and you keep watching them and I'll keep making them. Thanks as always, and if you are enjoying, maybe think about giving us a thumbs up. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.